GT Goku's been out for a while now, and well, he's won every major tournament since his release. I mean, I'm sure Goichi has as much to do with that as GT Goku does, but it's okay. I get it. I know. People might be a little sick of dealing with him by now. He's a little demon. But you gotta admit, he's pretty interesting too, right? I mean, that mix-up is pretty cool. Reverse Kamehameha combos are neat. And the crowd at EVO was pretty eager to lend him their energy. Over and over and over again. Anyway, whether you're learning him because you think he's cool, or because you think you're forced to play him, or maybe you just want to know what the heck he's doing, I'm here to help. So what's the purpose of this guide? Well, since GT Goku is undeniably a meta-defining character, I really just want to make picking him up a lot easier, and I want to make fighting him a lot easier. So whatever side you are going to fall on, I really want to be able to help you out. I really just want to improve the overall quality of play all around, so hopefully everyone can find something useful to them in this guide. And since I don't think I need to convince anyone that GT Goku is strong, let's just try to go through the pros and cons as quickly as possible. So the pros, dear lord, I'm definitely going to miss something, there's too much. He has high damage, really high meter gain, an excellent auto combo, consistent anti-super dash options, whether he's easily too, so if you somehow can't reach the corner, just go back the way you came. He's got a solo snap loop, and a pretty good regular level 3 knockdown as well, and last but not least, a truly amazing assist. And onto the cons, I actually really struggled to think of anything. He's so good, and it's so easy for him to work around any shortcomings he has. I couldn't think of anything that really impacted him beyond not having a traditional ki blast and having a pretty small 2 like super dash most of the time anyway. If I can think of anything else that he really lacks, I'll add it here in post. But off the top of my head, I really just can't think of anything that's really that big of a deal. He's so good. He's so good. Fight him as well. So with everything I cover in this guide, I'm going to try and give you the good, how to use it, how to do it if you are the one playing GT Goku, but I also want to give you the other. Look at his jump light, for example. It doesn't look very big, but it's actually got so much priority. Auto combo is amazing. His 2H may be small, but it nets really huge reward on a successful hit. And it's got really good cancel options on block to keep yourself safe or potentially take another turn if you have an assist available. That's something that a lot of characters don't have the luxury of doing. Next, his beams are actually really strong as well. They have excellent angles for covering common dead zones in neutral, but be careful, try to only vanish if you sit on the ground or the air with a quarter circle back, L, M, or H. The air versions where you're going to get most of the use out of it in neutral, they're very low risk, they can't be anti-aired because they're a projectile, and they're really easy to get a combo and to vanish, which remember, regardless of where you are on the screen, you can probably chuck them towards whichever corner is closer to you at the time. The heavy version tracks and is a really great way to bully your way in with an assist. There are some ways to get around this. First of all, you can reflect it on reaction, but you might still end up blocking the assists. If you're running forward as a call out, it'll whiff entirely, it'll pass you, and you can get a super dash punish. But again, this is kind of difficult to do on reaction, so it is sort of a guess. In general, dealing with heavy orb is really hard. It can sometimes just lose the super dash, but again, it's a guess, it's not a reaction. Next, let's talk about his Rush Punch Lariat type move, which is his quarter circle forward, L, M, and H. Again, this can be used on the ground or the air, just like the orb. These have actually really high priority. The medium one's only going to be used for combos, but the light one can sometimes be used in neutral. The heavy one is where it's really at, though. 236H is super good, it's very fast, has low recovery, and always converts into a full combo on hit. Priority on it is so high that it'll beat almost any normal it comes in contact with, and it'll very frequently just accidentally beat Super Dash as well. This move is actually super underrated. Use it, use it, use it, it's dumb, I promise. And of course, who could forget Power Pull? In place of a regular Ki Blast, he has the Power Pull. On the ground, it goes pretty far. In the air, it goes pretty far. The only real downside to this is that it's very thin, and it's kind of a big commitment. so it'll very frequently whiff even when it looks like it probably should have hit. I think this is kind of too big of a commitment, even though it gets a combo on hit, to be used very frequently in neutral, but it does have some uses. Now I want to talk about reverse Kamehameha for a minute. You can use these up to 3 times at a time, and you can choose which direction you go each time. The first one has to be either forward, up forward, or down forward, but the next 2 you can choose any direction you want with the exception of straight up or straight down. Reverse Kamehameha is mostly going to be used for combos, specifically in the corner after his medium lariat or his jump S, assuming you still have your smash available. The universal combo in the corner, a really easy one you can pick up, is just to do up forward, down forward, down forward. Or if you're mid-screen and you use jump S, you can go horizontally with neutral, delay, up back, down forward. One good use for reverse Kamehameha is to escape the corner or just to navigate neutral. Keep in mind that it actually has a lot of recovery on whiff and block, so much so that you can get punished pretty easily. However, angling it into the ground drastically shortens this recovery. As the opposing player, Super Dash is a pretty solid option to try to chase reverse Kamehameha. Just be careful that if you don't do it fast enough and they angle into the ground, they might have enough time to 2H punish your Super Dash. Now let's take some time to talk about one particularly abusable, strong, neutral tactic that GT Goku players can take advantage of. If they Super Dash and you block it, they can immediately use his light orb to kind of win a scramble situation afterwards. It's hard to 2H because, like I said, it can't actually be 2H since it's a projectile, and if you're in the air, it's really hard to actually hit this before it can hit you. And then he just calls his assist, takes his turn if you block it, or is going to vanish into a combo on hit. It's a really strong, abusable tactic, and one that's very similar, if not exactly the same, to how many Kid Buu players approach neutral. So what can you do about it? Well, if you block the Super Dash in the air, you will always get your air actions back. This means you can always Super Dash, and you can always double jump. So what I like to do is to double jump away, or backdash away, and then Super Dash to whiff punish the orb. But ideally, you just beat the Super Dash beforehand with a good air-to-air, a level 3, or if you're able to land in time, use a 2H for even more reward. Ideally, the best way to deal with the situation is to not let the situation happen in the first place. Alright, now let's move on to arguably his biggest strength, which is offense. I want to begin by showing you his corner 50-50 from any block string, which works with almost any assist. This is the cornerstone of his mix-up, I'd say. It's very difficult to deal with, and generally, it puts a lot of pressure on the opponent to escape before it can happen in the first place. So like I said, you're just going to use his light orb in a block string, call your assist. How you time the assist depends on the assist, but it works with almost everything. And then he can air dash and go for double overhead with jump LL, or he can land and go low for massive damage with his crouching medium. You could also go for some tricky but technically reactable mix-up by going for an occasional Dragon Rush or air dash into empty low. You could still use the light orb for mix-up mid-screen, however, it technically becomes all reactable at that point. Since you can't just land and go low, it won't reach. You'll have to do air dash into empty low. But the good thing is, you're still getting corner carry while going for this mix-up, so even if they guess correctly, you're still taking another step towards the position where GT really wants to be, which is the corner. So how do you deal with the mix-up that's this good? Well, if they happen to mistime the assist call, you can gamble a reflect and try to reflect it away. But if they're doing it properly, that won't work. The main solution to this is to guard cancel, and you really can only do this if you have a solid read on when they're going to go for the mix-up. You are trying to time the guard cancel to beat the orb itself. Now that we know what the ideal GT Goku mix-up looks like, let's take a look at what his pressure looks like in general. GT Goku's got so many normals to work with in his pressure that he can extend a block string much longer than most characters, and he can frame trap in more places than most characters. He has multiple low options in a string, which makes reflecting him even scarier since you might just get clipped low for trying. All these points where he can frame trap are also excellent points to take a risk and reset pressure, back into a 5L or a 2L so we can start again and get his assist back. It's really easy for him to push you to the corner, kill time to get his assist back, and make people impatient to the point where they want to take risks. Which is excellent for GT Goku since his frame traps have arguably the highest reward in the game, either straight up killing the opponent or leading to a really messed up 50-50 situation if they survive. So you might be thinking, well, let's just guard cancel his pressure. Well, guard canceling GT Goku staggers is actually pretty difficult. If you have a read on when they will special cancel, you can do it then and get out. However, guard canceling at any other point carries a pretty big risk, especially with how much damage he has and how little recovery he has on each of his normals. For example, although 5LL has a really long duration to it, it seems like the perfect time to guard cancel, since he shouldn't recover in time, and he won't. However, on the other side of the fence, GT Goku can actually just cancel into 2H at any point to save himself, beat the guard cancel, and possibly just kill you. Next, as I said before, he has an extra low in pressure, his down S. It's a low hit that converts into a full combo, just like Cell's forward H. With 2SS, he has some gimmicks where he can use power pull again, go for high-low, especially when he has an assist available. A really important thing to know is that 2S into jump 2H is actually plus. It's a really strong option to kill time so GT Goku can get his assist back for more 50-50s. And the defender in general has some options, but if you block it, remember he's plus. If you don't want to block it, you can reflect, you can 2H, or you can take the hit and accept the scramble that comes afterwards. Maybe the scramble is better for you than if you had just continued blocking GT Goku. The last part of GT Goku's pressure I want to talk about is his auto combo, which is really amazing. It's reflect proof. It reaches far and has really high priority, sometimes even just clashing or outright beating things like Super Dash. It causes cross-up situations frequently, since his 5L will move GT Goku forward, and then 5LL will auto-correct and go back the original direction for either a cross-up or at least pressure. GT Goku's post-vanish situation is quite strong as well, since even if auto combo is reflected, unless it's reflected twice, he stays in and keeps his turn. Even if the opponent backdashes, he will reach them. However, backdash does have enough time to backdash and jump away, or backdash and punish with 5L. But keep in mind that the backdash can be called out in other ways if they're willing to commit to chasing you down. Next, I want to talk about his supers really quick. His level 1 is a pretty standard beam super that does 720 damage. After one of GT Goku's teammates are KO'd, the minimum damage jumps up to 870 damage, which is actually, it goes from below average to actually above average. Keep in mind that if you're mid-screen, you can't combo into this from the medium orb in a combo, so you're going to have to use his jump 2H instead. Next, his regular level 3. Although Spirit Bomb's where the real magic is, his regular level 3 super has a pretty good mix-up as well. Microdash Instant Air Dash lets him sneak in a quick cross-up with Jump L, or he can stay same side and fake you out with Jump 2S and get a full combo from it as well if you got meter or an assist. Both of these options aren't quite meaty, so the opponent can gamble with the 2H, beating both for a pretty good reward. In order for GT's mix-ups to be real, he'll need to mix in other options that can beat the 2H, such as just a regular meaty 5L is actually really good in my opinion, since the auto combo follow-up will let you stay in if you get reflected. GT Goku can also go for an immediate same side instant air dash overhead, which can be a true meaty or an empty low. If you only need one more hit to sneak in that kill, you can go for jump 2H as well as a delayed overhead. And of course, don't forget the Dragon Rush exists as well. And just like the level 1 super, the damage on his level 3 jumps up considerably if one of your teammates has been KO'd. Finally, we have Spirit Bomb, the super that gives him a true 50-50 mix-up anytime he combos into it. Ideally, your team lets you combo into auto combo in the corner so that you can get the Spirit Bomb as often as possible, or you have the meter available to vanish and combo into it yourself. Keep in mind that if you've already used Reverse Kamehameha in your combo, you cannot vanish and do it again. You have to land before you can do reverse Kamehameha a second time. If you have enough meter to kill, you can dump even more supers afterwards. The easiest way is to do an air dash into an air Dragon Rush, but you can land, dash forward, Dragon Rush, and then combo into medium punches and then dump supers that way. Now let's talk about the setup for the 50-50 mix-up. There's a few different ways to kill frames and time the setup, but the most consistent, most common one is to fall with a jump H, with a crouching medium on the ground, and then hold up forward. And this puts you in a prime position to air dash over to the other side for an overhead cross-up, or land and go low on same side. That's the basic 50-50. Of course, there's other mix-up options as well, the most simple one being just going for Dragon Rush, which is really high reward. You can go for same side overhead if you delay the air dash long enough, but this might take some practice. And you can go for same side jump 2S to be extra tricky. Now that we've covered supers and Snap Oki, I want to really quickly just make a note that his regular knockdown is pretty solid as well. Orb in particular, his Light Orb, is very useful for covering up tech, down tech, and as long as you have an assist available, still keeping your turn or getting a combo if you happen to hit them. This sort of thing is open to getting reflected, but luckily you can bait that pretty easily by just whiffing a jump L above them while also covering up tech. Now, one of the most important things that I still need to talk about is the assist. Even with all of the ridiculous stuff that GT Goku has, his assist might somehow be the strongest thing that he has. It has good block stun, it's great for combos, and most importantly, it's fantastic in neutral. No other assist covers the space that it does, and it can generally just be thrown out pretty absent-mindedly. If you see it hit, then Super Dash or Jump L to pick it up for a full combo. If you see that it's blocked, then hey, congratulations, it's your turn. It helps that so many people's first instincts when they see a beam assist is to try to jump over it. So many people, myself included, are probably going to end up exactly where you want us to be. What can we do about it though? Well, in order to deal with it, we're going to have to make it whiff. If you're in the air, double jumping forward is a pretty solid choice. Sure, now you've used your air actions up except for Super Dash, but at least it's not guaranteed that you're blocking their point character. If you're on the ground, then you can move back and let it whiff over your head. This is actually really important for a few reasons. If you see them running at you and they think it's their turn, then stick out a 2M and get one of your best starters. Or just continue to move back and let them stay in front of you. Many of the Japanese players at EVO were using this tactic where they would try to make the beam whiff above their head and take advantage of the situation. Just be careful that there are ways to be called out sometimes, especially if you use the 2M tactic. In these videos moving forward, I want to start making a note about team synergy. Which characters help this character the most with their assists and their supers, and what other characters benefit from this character's assists the most. In GT Goku's case, however, that doesn't really seem to apply because everyone is happy to have him on their team. His assist is so good and so flexible, he can help almost anyone, and he's so flexible as a character that he can get by with almost any assist that you want. This is definitely a testament to how good he is as a character. He's one of those top tiers that just can fit on any team, and everyone's happy to have them on that team. There's a few miscellaneous situations that I still want to talk about that either didn't fit neatly into the topics from before, or I just forgot about until now. First, his post-tech Dragon Rush situation is really good. Jump 236H after Dragon Rush is a really strong option, and if it's blocked, then a falling jump L is actually a frame trap. However, it can be reflected, or it can be 2H'd. Beam into Vanish is also really solid here, but it can be reflected if the opponent lands in time. The Heavy Rush Punch is really strong round start, beating almost every option in the game. Be sure to call this out with Backdash for a full punish. After a snap, GT Goku can just go for the standard 50-50 with Light Orb, or he can set up a 50-50 with Jump 2S plus his assist into Air Dash High or Empty Low. And with that, I think we're finally done. This ended up being such a larger project than I anticipated. I can't believe we're over 20 minutes here. This was so much more work than I had expected it to be, and I'm sure I missed something. I'm sure I'll watch this the day after it goes up and think, God, I missed like 12 things. But for now, I'm pretty satisfied with it. So I really hope this helped you guys out. If you're interested in picking up the character, or if you're just hoping to fight him better, you know, and just be more comfortable fighting him. I really hope this helped you no matter what side you're on. I'm definitely going to do more stuff like this in the future. I want to thank everyone who gave me positive feedback and tried to encourage me to make more stuff after the Janemba guide. I was honestly gonna dumb these down a lot after that, because that one was so much work. This ended up being a lot more, but the feedback was just so good that I'm really motivated to make more like this. So thank you guys so much for that. And thanks again for watching. I'll be back with another one soon. Is it possible? No. Is it possible to make GT Goku any better? We'd probably need the Infinity Stones for a task like that. You know, Reality Stone, Soul Stone, Space Stone.